There is a flower that has been silencing the screams inside the human mind for over 2,500 years. And most people walk right past it. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly. When was the last time your mind was truly still? Not distracted, not numbed by a screen, not running through tomorrow's problems while pretending to live in today. When was the last time you took a breath, a real one, and felt your shoulders drop? Felt that invisible weight behind your eyes just dissolve? If you can't remember, you're not broken. You're not weak. You're just living in a world that was never designed for the human nervous system. We wake up to alarms. We consume urgency for breakfast. We scroll through other people's curated lives and wonder why ours feels so heavy. And somewhere between the first notification and the last anxious thought at midnight, we forgot something. Something ancient. Something essential. We forgot that the earth already made a medicine for this. And it doesn't come in a pill bottle. It grows in the soil. It blooms in purple. And it's been waiting patiently for you to lean in close enough to breathe. This is lavender. Lavandula angustifolia. To most people, it's a pretty plant. Something you find in candles. A scent your grandmother might have loved. But to neuroscientists, to psychologists, to researchers studying the architecture of human stress, lavender is one of the most quietly powerful plants on the planet. Because lavender doesn't just smell good. It changes what's happening inside your brain. When you inhale the scent of lavender, the volatile compounds, primarily one called linalool, travel through your olfactory system and arrive at a place deep inside your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is your brain's alarm system. It's the part that screams danger, sometimes even when there is none. It's the part that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. replaying a conversation from 6 years ago. The part that tightens your chest before a meeting that hasn't even started yet. The amygdala doesn't think. It reacts. And in the modern world, where everything feels urgent, where rest feels like laziness, where your phone buzzes like a heartbeat that never stops, the amygdala is working overtime. It's exhausted, and so are you. But here's what the research tells us. When linalool reaches the amygdala, it doesn't argue with it. It doesn't force it to stop. It does something far more elegant. It whispers. It modulates the signals. It reduces the firing rate. It tells your nervous system, in a language older than words, you are safe. You can rest now. And your brain listens. In 2012, a study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine measured cortisol levels. That's the hormone your body floods itself with when it's stressed, in participants who were exposed to lavender aromatherapy before a high-pressure cognitive test. The results were striking. Those who inhaled lavender before the test showed significantly lower cortisol levels. Their heart rates were calmer. Their blood pressure dropped. Their self-reported anxiety decreased. Not by a little, meaningfully. But this wasn't one study. A 2019 meta-analysis, that's a study of studies, examining data from thousands of participants across dozens of trials, confirmed it. Lavender aromatherapy produces a measurable anxiolytic effect. That's the clinical word for it reduces anxiety. Not as a placebo, not as a vague, feel-good spiritual idea, as a biochemical, neurological, measurable event inside the human body. Now, let me tell you a story, because data is important. But stories are how we understand the world. Imagine a woman named Alara. She's not real, but she represents millions of people who are. Alara hasn't slept well in months. Not because she doesn't want to, because her body won't let her. The moment she closes her eyes, her mind opens every drawer, every cabinet, every locked box she spent the day trying to keep shut. Her doctor says it's generalized anxiety. Her friends say she needs to relax. As if relaxation were a choice and not a biological state her nervous system has forgotten how to reach. She's tried meditation apps. She's tried breathing exercises. Some help a little. Most just give her something new to feel guilty about when they don't work. Then one evening, on a walk she almost didn't take, she passes a garden. And somewhere between the roses and the sage, there's lavender. Wild, unpruned, reaching out over a low stone wall like it was waiting for exactly this moment. She stops, not because she decided to, Because something in her body told her to. And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, her shoulders drop. Not all the way, not a miracle, but enough. Enough to notice. Enough to feel the difference between the version of her standing here and the version that almost stayed home. She doesn't know the science yet. She doesn't know about linalool or amygdala modulation or cortisol suppression. She just knows this helped. And here's the part that I find extraordinary. She's not the first person to feel this. The ancient Egyptians used lavender in their embalming rituals, not just for fragrance, but because they observed it brought a sense of peace to the living who handled the dead. The Romans bathed in it. The word lavender itself comes from the Latin lavare, to wash. But they weren't just washing their skin. They were washing their stress, their grief, their battle fatigue. They just didn't have a language for it yet. In medieval Europe, lavender was strewn across the floors of hospitals and plague houses, partly for its antimicrobial properties, partly because healers noticed it calmed the terrified. For 2,500 years, humans kept reaching for this plant, not because a study told them to, because their bodies already knew. And now, finally, science is catching up to what instinct always understood. A 2018 study from Kagoshima University in Japan made a breakthrough discovery. Researchers found that linalool, lavender's primary compound, doesn't just work through smell. When mice were exposed to linalool vapor, it activated diergic pathways, the same pathways targeted by anti-anxiety medications like benzodiazepines. Let me say that again, because it matters. The same neurological pathway that pharmaceutical companies spend billions trying to target with synthetic drugs is activated by the scent of a flower. Not to replace medicine. That's not the point. Some people need medication, and there's no shame in that. None. But the point is this: nature didn't forget about us. Even as we paved over meadows and sealed ourselves inside concrete and glass, nature kept producing the antidote, kept blooming it, kept offering it, purple and patient and free. We just stopped paying attention. There's something else about lavender that I think we need to hear. Something beyond the chemistry. Lavender thrives in poor soil. Read that again in your mind. It doesn't need rich, fertile, perfect conditions. In fact, it does worse in them. Give lavender too much water, too much comfort, and it drowns. It rots. It dies. But give it rocky ground. Give it heat. Give it drought. Give it the soil that other plants reject, and it blooms. If that isn't a metaphor for the human spirit, I don't know what is. Because maybe you've been living in rocky soil lately. Maybe the ground beneath your life feels dry and cracked and impossibly hard. Maybe you've been wondering why nothing seems to grow. But lavender would tell you, if it could, that difficult soil doesn't mean a barren life. It means the bloom, when it comes, will be resilient, fragrant, impossible to ignore. You're not defined by the quality of your soil. You're defined by what you choose to grow in it. So what does reconnection look like? It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be a complete life overhaul. You don't need to move to the countryside or become a botanist. Sometimes reconnection is as simple as a single plant on a windowsill, a sachet of dried lavender tucked inside your pillowcase. A moment, just 30 seconds, where you stop, lean in, breathe, and let a flower do what it was designed to do. Because here's what the research keeps telling us, study after study, year after year. Nature doesn't demand your attention. It invites it. And that invitation, quiet as it is, might be the most important one you accept this year. People who regularly engage with natural scents, who walk in green spaces, who let the living world touch their senses, they report less anxiety, better sleep, improved focus, greater emotional resilience. Not because nature is magic, because nature is home, and we've been away for far too long. Ilera still has hard days. The anxiety doesn't vanish. That's not how healing works. But she has a tool now, a quiet ally, a companion that doesn't judge her, doesn't rush her, doesn't ask her to be anything other than exactly what she is in this moment. A plant that says, in the only language it knows, breathe. You're safe. You can rest now. We live in an age of noise, an age where silence feels uncomfortable and stillness feels unproductive, where our nervous systems are burning through cortisol like fuel in an engine that never turns off. And in the middle of all that noise, there is a flower, It's purple. It's ancient. It's quiet. It doesn't shout. It doesn't sell. It doesn't ping or vibrate or demand. It just grows and blooms and releases into the air a molecule shaped like mercy. A molecule that finds the oldest, most frightened part of your brain and gently says, "It's okay. You can put the weight down now." Maybe the cure for the modern mind was never modern at all. Maybe it's been growing in the soil this entire time, waiting for us to kneel down, lean in close, and simply breathe. If this video made you pause, even for a moment, I'm glad. This is the plant mind, a place where we explore the quiet intelligence of nature and what it can teach us about being human. If you'd like to keep exploring, I'll be here, growing, just like the lavender,